man, anyway, he dropping today.
That's right.
That's that faith, that full belief. Full belief. You feel me? He wasn't wavering, you know, whispering, trying to talk it out. Bro, you're dropping today for that.
That's right.
You just blaspheme the whole
That's
time.
right. That's right.
All right, come on, Hebrew.
And bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
Get it just ready.
And having,
go ahead, bro.
and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled.
That's when we pull swords and get at the heat. When your obedience is fulfilled. Ours ain't fulfilled yet.
Right.
You hear me? They tell you in the scriptures also that the saints gonna judge the world. They gonna get the authority from Christ to straight administer the judgment in the earth.
Right.
But when your obedience is fulfilled,
Right.
there ain't nobody obedience fulfilled yet. Not if we still sinning.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
So you can't administer the judgment right now. That's just what it is.
Right.
All right? Go ahead.
So your whole topic about being a soldier, you know, soldiers takes orders.
Yeah.
You don't get to go out there
And just
tell the general,
right.
well, I'm gonna pull this move,
Right.
and he say don't do it, and
Right.
you do it anyway,
Right.
or you go against the plan.
Right,
The
right.
plan is already set.
And what happens when you go against the
Go
plan?
against the plan, you through, because
Yeah.
you out there by yourself. You're
Right.
through. You out there by yourself, and don't nobody else know what you're doing. So when you go out there to war, like you say, the battle's already won. We just the messengers. We just the disciples if we continue in this truth. But we have to go out there and not get angry.
Right.
Or you become insubordinate. They call it insubordination.
And what they give you, a dishonorable discharge.
Right.
You don't want to be dishonorable.
You don't be kicked
Discharge out the army.
Right.
That ain't gonna be too good for you. All right, now look, we identified the breastplate and the loins as identified as shield, as faith. Romans chapter 4. Our forefather Abraham is going to get into his faith. And you'll see when the Most High was hounding him, Abraham didn't even stagger at unbelief. He didn't even entertain that it couldn't happen. That's why he was called a friend of the Most High. Even though he was a commandment keeper as well. See, so you got to have the commandments, but you got to be in belief or in faith of what the Most High done told you to do.
Okay.
You got to have the faith, so it's like a prerequisite. It's like you can't have one without the other, right? You got faith, but you don't keep the commandments. But you keep the commands like the non-messianics, but you don't got the faith. You don't got the armor here. If you ain't got the armor, you won't be protected either, even if you know you Israel. Even if you know you Israel. All right, let's get that. Romans 4.
Which verses you want? Because I'm looking
19 on down, or just get to the point, or if you see something you want to get in,
let's start at 13 if you could.
let's get it. Let's get it. We're going over what this shield is. We got the breastplate or the bulletproof vest, which is righteousness. The loins girded about with truth. Truth and righteousness go hand in hand. The commandments of the Most High. So in order for you to talk about any armor, I'm a soldier, I in this war, I go hard. Well, you ain't talking about no commandments, you ain't girded. You don't got no bulletproof vest on or nothing to gird your loins.
No good fruit proceeding
Nothing.
out of your mouth.
Nothing. All right, you got it, Hebrew?
Yeah, we're going to read this Romans chapter 4, starting at verse 13.
Yeah, just read it on down. It's going to get into Abraham. Yeah, read on now. Yeah, read on now. We're going to get into Abraham. And some people tell you, well, Abraham had faith. Yeah, he had faith. Right? He was told to offer up his son, and he ain't staggered.
So he had
That's
faith
faith.
and
Who got
works.
faith like that?
That's faith and works.
Yeah. He did all he believed it, and then he kept the charge.
See, a lot of people use that Abraham seed as an excuse. They say that just because I believe, they look at that Abraham seed as being in the spiritual lineage, but it's a physical lineage as well. But you got to do the things that Abraham did.
Right.
You have to stand like Abraham stood to be in that faith. A lot of people out here all the time talk about, I'm Abraham's seed, I'm Abraham's seed. What did Abraham do?
Right.
You know, you got to look at the whole thing, not just that one act.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. Just so we can clear it up. Y'all hold that Romans 4. We're going to Genesis 26 and 5, one verse. Showing you that Abraham kept the law as well. And we're going to go in the Apocrypha as well. It talks about Abraham. How he kept the law of the Most High. So then you can see it wasn't just his law, the law keeping in which he was justified. It was his faith as well. Most High told him something, Abraham believed it, didn't even allow doubt to creep in. Most High, you told me, I'm going to mark that. That's what it is. Genesis 26. You got that? Yeah, book of Joshua. Yeah. Isaac was apt to be the second.
Yeah, he was.
But see, you get emotional atheists to try to tell you, oh, what kind of God would tell you to kill your son? When you kill your son, there's certain people that do that. They try to get you like, you shouldn't worship the God of the Bible. He's a baby killer. You know that? Like, you shouldn't worship the God of the Bible. There's people out there. There's people out there like that, right? But he didn't tell Abraham to do something that he wasn't prepared for.
Right.
Exactly.
He offered up his son. And it went through.
Exactly.
So he just was testing his servant, and the servant, but what pleased the Most High that his servant was willing. If his head gotta go, it gotta go, because he knew that the Most High would raise him back up if he had to. That's my promised son you told me about. Now you tell me to go put him down. Oh, okay. Right? The Most High stopped it and called him his partner or his friend from that point on. Right? But he didn't tell him to do nothing that he wasn't about.
Right.
Trip off that. And had not he allowed his son to be sacrificed, we all would be marked like the what would they call it? The mark of Cain.
Right.
We all had a mark of Cain on us. All right, let's get that. Genesis 26, 4 and 5. And then in Sirach 18. Just to establish that Abraham was a law keeper as well. Yeah, he had the faith. Right? He believed, and the Most High told him to do it, and he went and did it. So he kept commandments as well. Faith without works is dead. You can't have faith and don't keep the charge of the Most High. You got lawless faith. That's what that's called. And you saying Christ died to make you a lawbreaker with faith. That don't make no sense. All right, let's get that, bro.
Genesis chapter 26, verse 4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice.
Because Abraham did what?
Obeyed my voice.
Right.
And kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my law.
Flat out. So you see what Abraham was on? He was a law keeper. Law keeper. So we can't just, because some people tell you Abraham didn't keep no law. Silly. He only had faith.
Silly.
He only had faith. Right? Let's get the second witness. Ecclesiastes 44. The Apostle, verse 18 to 21. Abraham kept the charge of the Most High. Yes, he did. He kept the commandments of the Most High. He had the full armor on. So he had his breastplate on and his loins girded, but you don't. But I'm of the faith of Abraham. How you don't do what Abraham did? Or even acknowledge what he was doing is righteous. Look, that's what we supposed to be doing right there. Come on, this is something to think about. Right. All right,
Ecclesiastes chapter 44.
18 to 21.
Okay. Verse 16. And it's just other brothers too. Enoch pleased the Lord and was translated.
Enoch did what?
Pleased the Lord and was translated.
Now, how you please the Most High if you're not doing what He says? So now we got back. We before the flood. Men keeping the law of God. Enoch pleased the Most High. How you please Him and you don't do what He says? Meaning that Enoch was a law keeper. This is before the flood. That's why he was deemed as righteous. All right, come on, bro.
Being an example of repentance to all generations. Noah was found perfect and righteous.
Noah was found perfect and righteous. Meaning what? He never told you or switched up the order of worship. Noah tripped. Noah got drunk a few times. After he figured out him and his people, the only people on the planet. After the flood, he planted him a vineyard. He took the grapes, made wine. And got drunk and tripped, you feel me? But the scripture still calls him perfect. Meaning he was a man after the law of the Most High. God, he wasn't making excuses for his sins like we tend to do today.
Right.
You feel me? There's a difference. That's why the scripture can still call him perfect, because he knew wherever he got out of line and he knew how to correct that. Right? And battle with that. Not make no excuse. Oh, boy, sin is sin. It don't matter. So now you can be, a broke wrist preacher. You be able to with your wrist broke, preaching the word of God, because it doesn't matter anymore. Stop it. Come on.
In the time of wrath, he was taken in exchange for the world. Therefore he was left as a remnant unto the earth when the flood came. An everlasting covenant was made with him that all flesh should perish no more by the flood. Verse 19. Abraham was a great father of many people. In glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High.
Who kept what?
The law of the Most High, and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh.
Right.
And when he was proved, he was found faithful.
When he was tried, he was found faithful. He didn't waver and use that as an excuse to go left field. And the Most High tried him, he was found faithful. Didn't waver. How many of us got that kind of faith?
Right.
I can't even raise my hand. I don't got that. That's unwavering right there. Right? That's unwavering. Come on, bro. Verse 21. Yeah.
Verse 21. Therefore he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the upmost part of the land.
What an
The
inheritance.
last two, man. Go on.
Yeah, go on, finish it on out. What an inheritance.
With Isaac did he establish likewise,
See that? Likewise.
for
Likewise.
Abraham his father's sake, the blessing of all men and the covenant. And he made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing, and gave him inheritance, and divided his portion among the 12 tribes. Did he part them?
It just didn't start and end with Abraham. It continued on through his son and his son's son and on to us and those after us. If we continue in this, you got to continue in it.
Look up covenants.
We got a question.
Shoot.
Okay. Well, let's get this, y'all. We're going to get to this faith. Romans chapter 4. Verse 13 on down. We just went to establish that Abraham was a law keeper. Don't let nobody tell you that. Oh, that was before the children of Israel received the law on Mount Sinai. He couldn't have kept the law, silly. You get a lot of that. Unless you study it up, you don't know how to reply.
Right.
You feel me? You don't know how to reply. The law was in the Garden of Eden. That's what Big Adam got.
That's right.
Same thing as grace. What Noah found. And Noah found what?
Grace.
Grace.
He was
Grace
left a
always
remnant
been around.
in the earth. A remnant. How graceful is that?
Right.
You the last man alive.
All right, let's get
And
to
your
this.
son.
I got that covered.
Covenant, you got that? What it say?
Covenant. Off the compact Bible dictionary. A mutual agreement between two or more persons to do or refrain from doing certain acts.
A mutual agreement. Both parties agree. And there's stipulations. You can do this, but you can't do that. Same thing went down in Mount Sinai with the children of Israel. Right? Same thing went down the night Christ offered up himself for the new covenant. This is the blood for the new covenant and all that. But there's terms in the covenant.
Right.
Right? What you can do and what you can't do. In other words, there's laws.
Right.
Now I'm up under the new covenant, but I swallow down a chicken sandwich.
Right.
Somebody's loosely throwing words around here without understanding what we saying.
Exactly.
You read the Bible, you run across a word you understand, it's your duty to stop and get that understanding.
The definition.
Don't get you a dictionary or something. Even if you got the internet, get on dictionary.com. Easy. Or look this word up real quick so you can get that understanding.
Let me say this, Mallet. And also, the Most High's covenant, it ain't no small print you have to look for and figure out that you done signed up for something wrong. It's right there in your face in big bold letters, as big as all the other words. These covenants you make with these nations today is the small print you fail to read, the wiles of the devil. If it's this small and you wear glasses, I don't care if you put on a binocular and look through there, you still can't read the small print. But that's where they get you and trick you with wiles of the devil because you didn't read something too small to see with the natural eye.
That's all that fast talk at the end of commercials that they have to read real quick.
Right, right. All the sound quick.
You ready for this Romans 4?
1 and 3.
We're going 13 to the end.
That's why it's good to go get the understanding.
That's right.
And then come on back to this Romans. You got people that will read that and be like, see, but understand, he was a law keeper, but he had the faith as well. He was fully persuaded when the Most High told him was accurate, flawless, 100% true. Right? And he acted on that. You got that, Hebrew?
Yeah.
Romans 4?
Yeah. Romans 4:13. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith.
Through the righteousness of faith. Faith got to do with righteousness as well. Remember, the Lord wants you fully persuaded. He became the friend of the Most High when he offered up his son. He's about to offer up his son. The Most High stopped it. The Most High said, that's my friend right there. He got faith. He believed, even though he was a law keeper. Understand that. So that's not telling you don't keep the law. The doctrine, the moral will read that and say, see, the promise came to him because he ain't had to keep the law. He's a man of faith. But we just established he was a law keeper. Right? That wasn't just enough. The Pharisees was law keepers, but that just wasn't enough. It's the law with the faith of Christ. You gotta have faith in that. All right, to be justified in the sight of the Most High. All right, come on, Hebrew.
Verse 14. For if they which are of the law be heirs, faith is made
You
void.
don't even need faith. If it's just by your law keeping, then what's the point of faith? You can doubt the Most High then. And miracles still come in. Right? He wants you in full belief as well. Remember, the faith is the shield. And you can quench all the fiery darts of the enemy like that. All the doubt that come in. Right? You can have your shield up like, yeah, get on somewhere with that. That ain't nothing. Your shield. Right? Blocking the fiery darts of Satan or the wiles of the devil. And that's all that is. Most High tell you something and then you get to doubt. Right? You're wavering in your faith. Abraham wasn't like that. All right, come on, bro.
And the promise made of none effect, because the law worketh wrath. For where no law is, there is no transgression.
There is no transgression where no law is. All right, come on, bro.
Therefore it is of faith, that it might be by grace, to the end that the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all.
It ain't just to the lost, to those that believe as well. You got to be fully persuaded in the Most High.
That's right.
What he's saying, his message, the order how he sent his son, everything. You got to be fully persuaded. All right, come on, bro.
As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him whom he believed, even God, who quickened the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were.
Then the Most High calls things that are not as though they are. Well, he calls the end from the beginning. See that? Before it even come into manifestation, he already called it down what it's going to be.
It says, as it is written.
As it is written.
So where
We
was
just
it
read.
Yeah, what he just read.
No,
Old Testament.
that say it's done away with.
Right. Come on, bro.
Who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be.
You heard it say, who against hope, because the situation looked grim, believed in hope. Even though the odds were stacked against him, he didn't waver in his belief. Even though the world be against you, Israel, don't waver. They just come with feelings anyway. They ain't come with no script, no proof. Right? Don't waver. Even though you against hope, it don't look good for you. Keep the faith. Stay wasted. Don't waver. Keep the faith. Where's your family? Who is my mother or father? Those who do the will of the Father, which is in heaven. Sometimes your family will come against you, but make sure you ain't doing your part to agitate them like that.
Right.
You
And
know?
you
Some
must-
people be like, look, I already know you're going to be against me.
Right.
Come in, slap over the Christmas tree and take over some presents. Told you this. And now you agitate.
Right.
Now you agitate. See, the scripture already told me y'all think it's going to be against me.
Right.
No, it ain't okay to share it. If we around, we got to reprove. Right? But if you there participating in any way, how you bring the support out there.
Right. You must
Right?
be an
You can be
example.
there, but you can be there and not participate.
Right. You got to be an example of standing in your faith to them.
Right.
That they look upon you and see that, okay, we've all been through this and that and this and that in our lives. But once we found this, everybody that know us know this is what we own right now. And they waiting to look and see us fall off of this. But we ain't falling. You know, by his grace and by his strength that we may endure to the end. But the fact is, they waiting to see what's going to happen. But when you stand strong and stay there for them, they see you staying in that, then they be like, well, maybe there's something to this. And or she's always this and she's always that about it. You know, she use it. You be that example for them.
And not only that, if you gonna single out your family members that's on it, you got to single out everybody. Your job on it, the grocery store on it, your best friend may be on it. So everybody, if you paint anybody with that brush, anybody that's on it, you got to paint everybody on that brush. So if the job on it, you got to paint them with the same brush you paint your family members with. And if you make an exception for the job under any reason, because it's the job that put money in your pocket, then you ain't playing fair. Because you're taking the pay. They tell you in the beginning, we gonna pay you for our holidays to our God. And you say that's fine. So we can't play games here. There ain't no in between. It's all or nothing. Either you're gonna play by the rules and understand the wiles of the devil and how to deal with them. You have to do the same thing for your family members. Because if you go to the job and you tell them, according to the Bible, we shouldn't be doing this. What do you think the president of the company gonna say? You got one or two choices. Go to your desk, or security escort you to your car.
So I can turn down that holiday pay and go get it.
However it is. But if you treat one with this brush, everybody got to be treated with that brush. There's no partiality in them.
Yeah, right.
So you have to be certain that you're not beating up on somebody that can't defend themselves, and then you can't deal with these people because they're giving you a paycheck. That ain't fair.
Let's finish this up.
Yeah, we got a question back there.
Well, I said it could, like you just said though, also, it cut across the board from not just family and just your job, but even to your mates and then down top, even to ourselves, because the decision got to be made. When the boys came up and they was like they wanted to ride, they wanted to be the disciples, the dude said, hold on, let me go bury my daddy real quick, and then I'll be back. Let the dead bury the dead. Let me go holler at my family. No, if you right, you fully convinced, you know this, then you know this. It don't matter who it is. You gotta.
But you can't harm yourself.
Respect the person. That was you
You can't harm yourself. You can't allow that day to make you not eat the rest of the 364 days. You can't be high-minded and to the point you think one day a year and we got issues we got to deal with for 364 of them that we keep repeating every day.
Right.
That's a problem. This just one day a year. We're talking about the ones you keep doing over and over and over and over, and you keep making excuses for it. Every day you keep doing it, and then you justify it.
Right.
And find a way to say, this is why Paul is saying right here in verse 14, anybody can do the law. You can do the law because it's practice. Don't do this, but if you're not doing it in faith, you're wasting your time. Muslims don't eat pork, but they don't believe in the gospel and the faith of Christ.
Right.
So that defeats them doing the law. It's Aaron and it's Melchizedek. Either you have faith in the commandments, and as well as the belief in Christ and His gospel. If you ain't got both of them, you ain't got it.
You ain't got the arm.
You ain't got the arm.
I'm just trying to get clarification on, because the holidays coming up.
Right.
Me, myself, I can't go around my family.
Do you go to your job?
Yes, I go. to my
Is trees up there?
Yes, there
Is people right next to you got Christmas decorations at their desk?
Correct.
How do you tolerate that?
How do I tolerate it?
Yes.
That was when they.
I'm talking about how do you tolerate it, period.
I gotta work.
How do you go through? You have to work.
Right.
So do you have to do the work of the Lord?
Correct.
So how does your mother tree stop you from doing it?
Because I have to go over there and partake.
You have to partake?
No, well, if I'm around that and they're very jolly and stuff, my spirit can't take.
What about work?
With work.
So there's an
Monday
exception.
through Friday. Well, listen, with work, there's Monday through Friday. So when they pass around who's doing Santa Claus Secret Santa and who's putting in for the, I
You
don't
don't
know.
do it.
No, I
So what's the difference at your mama's
So you can
house?
be there, what he's saying is you can be there at work in the midst of all that paganism and not partake.
Right.
Why you can't do this?
You can do it the same thing.
You cannot partake over there too. You ain't gotta buy or get no tree or drink the eggnog.
Let 'em do what they
Honey
want.
mistletoe, eat no honey glazed ham. Somebody out the fam might be like, I've heard about Sheena. She might be on some, girl, what is you up to?
Right.
Not even, but I'm glad, hey, you just there for that one anyway, get her.
Not only that, but is the sin on that day greater than what they doing every day when you go over there?
Let's see if-
How do you measure the level of sin that they doing?
I don't look at it that way.
You don't look at it that way. I'm talking about how the scriptures look at it. It says there's no partiality. You can't decide which sin they doing greater than the other.
Right.
Sin is sin.
Right.
And the bottom line is, if you there on the 26th and they doing whoremongering, do you stay away?
Like you can still be in the midst of that, but not be part of it, like Lot. It's how to make it more. Sometimes you got overwhelming, though, right? Like sometimes you get overwhelmed. What Lot had to do, he had to shut his door.
Had to shut-
So in a certain situation,
I go
yeah.
there and I won't eat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna eat. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying, partake in the Christmas opening, but I'm not gonna eat their food, just like I won't eat the food at work. I'm
Well,
gonna eat the
that-
same.
No problem.
That's
That
what
ain't
it
keeping
is.
you away though, is it?
Yeah. and
Why does that keep you away?
Does it keep me away?
Why
Why
does it keep you away? Why do you choose not to go over like that sin is greater than something? They only doing this sin one day a year. I'm talking about the ones you keep coming around that they doing for 364 days.
I will not be, I feel in my spirit, I don't wanna be around.
What I'm talking about, one day, the
Right.
25th, they doing this sin. 364 days, they doing this one, and you still go there.
Can I ask you why you have to go?
I don't.
Period.
I don't go.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Why
I
you don't
Yeah,
go?
but-
I'm thinking your mama's making you come over to the house
No,
on
I
that day.
choose not to go. I'm
But
trying to figure
ain't
out-
nothing wrong with that. He just saying you gotta treat the people at work the same way. If you can be around that at work and still not partake, you can still be at your mama house and not partake. Some of our people do go there. They will take you there, and you know, even though they know what you want. Oh, baby, Merry Christmas. It's all good. This your auntie ain't seen you in a while. Hey, you got some slippers over there up under the tree. Go on over there and bow down and get that gift over there. You feel me? So you knowing you can, but you go into that realm knowing it could be that. Like even if you show up, you know somebody might try my face on me. Right? Let me stay on. So that's all that is. It's just some more spiritual warfare. You feel me? Like either you choose to stay away from it or you don't, but you don't gotta go.
And another thing is what I'm saying. And if
Depend
somebody,
on your attention.
Of course, it's on your attention.
somebody
Some
gonna
people
say, I know you ain't on that, but I bought you this shirt. I look, that other shirt got more holes in it, and I bought you a shirt. No, I can't take nothing. But the job tell you up front, we gonna give you some money for this day, and you ain't even got to work. Do you tell them, no, I don't want that 8 hours of pay. You can keep that or give it to the homeless.
Hold on, yes.
Are we doing that?
Mallory, can I
Go ahead.
just, can I
Hold
just
on,
say one thing
yeah, go ahead.
before we move on? I always think that this is a good time for you to be around your family, to let them know what you believe in. Even though that we do witness what they're doing and everything, you can't cut your family out, because one thing that I'm looking at is that you're trying to bring as many people into the fold as possible, because every time that you do go around, they will understand. And like Danny used to say, this food over here is for you. We already know what you're on, but the thing about it is you have to let your family see. At first, they're going to be very resistant, but if you just keep showing what you believe in and you stand firm, they're going to come into the fold. You have to understand that God is going to open up their eyes sooner or later, because you have not wavered from what you believe in. But you can't just cut yourself off from your family, because you want your family to believe in the same thing and know the truth that you believe in. They might not come right away, but they will come into it.
If it's meant for them.
If it's meant for them.
Some people in our family ain't meant for them.
But you just can't, don't just cut them off from the fold. You're trying to
Based
get them.
on one of the 613 law breakings, if they still doing 612 and you fine with that, that's a problem within itself. So y'all, we have to understand, we're not saying partake in this, but this the deal. If you don't know what the Feast of Dedication is about, and you staying away from them, how they gonna ever learn how Satan has matched his day up perfectly on the 25th of December of the Gregorian calendar, and on the 25th day of the Hebrew calendar, it's a festival of lights, and Satan has his festival of lights. If you ain't there to even share that with them, then it's a problem in itself because you're holding back truth from them. Unless they tell you, don't come over here with that BS. That's a different story.
It just depends on the situation.
We gotta be mindful of our children.
Go ahead, bro.
We gotta be real mindful of our children. Because we gotta be real mindful of our children to make sure.
Hold it down, y'all. We got 10 people talking.
We gotta make sure we be mindful of our children, that we teaching them accordingly. Because if those that do go around their family and you're not teaching your children accordingly, your children will start to
Thinking it's okay.
Not only that, but the bottom line is you can't take them over there when you need a babysitter.
Exactly. That's why it's important that whether you go or not, or whatever you do, make sure we focus on ourselves. And if we're going to go, we bring a light to darkness, and then we're going to put our kids through any of them situations, whether it's Christian or another day that our kids know. Because Satan is trying to sift. We can know the truth at this level that we at. But if the next generation falls and wither away, it did us no good.
That's right. Right. So you just teach them so they know how to deal with the madness.
Deal with it. Because you can deal with it and battle it. But if your kid is up with you and they can't battle it, you don't want that spirit jumping on them.
Right.
So you more so want to be mindful of that.
But see, understand, it depends on the situation as well. Some people, parents or family, is just so gun-ho what you talking about, it don't profit you none to go.
Right.
They over there like, look, the hell what you talking about, don't come over here talking about your God or whatever. So, hey, I won't be there. You talking about that. You always talking about that Bible. Some people, parents, have not been raised up in the church. Like one of our brothers. You feel me? His mom and them wasn't in the church. Well, I mean, they into the little, pagan holidays or whatever, because that's the ills of society. But they can hear the gospel quicker than somebody that's been perverted by the false doctrine of Christianity.
Right. If you love your mother and father, you're gonna bring light to that darkness.
Yeah. If they want to hear it.
If they want to hear it.
Some people don't want to hear what you're talking about. Later, your breath stink. Don't come over here talking about that. In that case, they told you, don't come over. Don't go.
Say,
It's just that simple.